Cassian speaks of Abba Paul, who like many desert monks wove baskets as he prayed and subsisted on food from his garden and a few date palms. Unlike monks who lived closer to cities and could sell their baskets there, Paul could not do any other work to support himself because his dwelling was separated from towns and from habitable land by a 7 days' journey through the desert, and transportation cost more than he could get for the work that he did. He used to collect palm fronds and always exact a day's labor from himself, just as if this were his means of support. And when his cave was filled with a whole year's work, he would burn up what he had so carefully toiled over each year. Does Abba Paul epitomize the dutiful monk who recognizes that the prayers he recites during his labors are of more value than anything he can make? Or is he the patron saint of performance art, methodically destroying the baskets he has woven to demonstrate that the process of making them is more important than the product? Paul's daily labors may have been designed to foster humility, but the annual burning had another greater purpose. Cassian notes that it aided the monk in purging his heart, firming his thoughts, persevering in his cell, and conquering and driving out acedia. Acedia may be an unfamiliar term to those not well versed in monastic history or medieval literature, but that does not mean it has no relevance for contemporary readers. The word has a peculiar history, and as timelines on the Oxford English Dictionary website reveal, it has gone in and out of favor over the years. References to Acedia cluster in the 14th century, then disappear until 1891. Acedia appears in 1607 and then not again until 1922 in a citation from William R. Inge's outspoken essays. Reflecting on the cultural shock that followed the Great War, particularly in Europe, he writes that human nature has not been changed by civilization and discerns acedia at the bottom of the diseases from which we are suffering. In the 1933 OED, acedia was confidently declared obsolete, with references dating from 1520 and 1730. But by the mid-20th century, as civilized people were contending with the genocidal horror of 2 world wars, acedia was back in use. A 4-volume supplement to the OED published between 1972 and 1986 instructs delete obsolete, and the current 1989 edition includes references from 1936 and 1950. Languages have a life and a wisdom of their own, and the reemergence of the word suggests to me that acedia is the lexicon's version of a mole, working on us while hidden from view. It may even be that the word has a significance that stands in inverse proportion to its obscurity. The scholar Andrew Crislip writes that the very persistence of the term acedia betrays the fact that none of the modern or medieval glosses adequately conveys the semantic range of the monastic term. He cites a French monk, Placide de Sey, who describes the word as so pregnant with meaning that it frustrates every attempt to translate it. I believe that such standard dictionary definitions of acedia as apathy, boredom, or torpor do not begin to cover it. And while we may find it convenient to regard it as a more primitive word for what we now term depression, the truth is much more complex. Having experienced both conditions, I think it likely that much of the restless boredom, frantic escapism, commitment phobia, and enervating despair that plagues us today is the ancient demon of acedia in modern dress. The boundaries between depression and acedia are notoriously fluid. At the risk of oversimplifying, I would suggest that while depression is an illness treatable by counseling and medication, acedia is a vice that is best countered by spiritual practice and the discipline of prayer. Christian teachings concerning acedia are a source of strength and encouragement to me, and I hope to explore its vocabulary in such a manner that benefits readers whatever their religious faith or lack of it. At its Greek root, the word acedia means the absence of care. The person afflicted by acedia refuses to care or is incapable of doing so. When life becomes too challenging and engagement with others too demanding, acedia offers a kind of spiritual morphine. You know the pain is there, yet can't rouse yourself to give a damn. That it hurts to care is borne out in etymology, for care derives from an Indo-European word meaning to